Imagine finding a miracle drug for weight loss or diabetes, but then facing a stark choice. Pay over $1,000 a month, or turn to an unregulated market promising the same results for less. What do you choose? And what are the hidden dangers of that choice? People are clamoring for GLP-1 medications, those revolutionary drugs changing the game for diabetes management and weight loss. But here's the catch. These powerful prescriptions often come with a staggering price tag, sometimes exceeding $1,000 a month without robust insurance coverage. You also might encounter frustrating shortages. Because of these hurdles, a growing number of Americans are bypassing traditional pharmacies, instead choosing unregulated sellers. They do this hoping to find a more accessible, more affordable solution. But the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, issues urgent warnings about these so-called gray market GLP-1 drugs, like semaglutide and tirzepatide. These products operate entirely outside the legal drug supply chain. They do not undergo assessment for safety, quality, or efficacy. The FDA makes it very clear. Unapproved medications could be counterfeit, contaminated, or poorly compounded. Think about it like this. You wouldn't buy a critical car part from a back-alley dealer with no guarantees, especially one that could affect your life. Why would you risk that with medication you put into your body? Many of these GLP-1 products pop up online, often marketed as compounded semaglutide, or bizarrely labeled for research use only. They ship directly to you, the consumer, with very little oversight. A recent study in the JAMA Health Forum even warned that some of these compounded products use unverified versions of semaglutide, versions quite different from what the FDA has actually approved. And the Medicine Maker, an industry publication, just highlighted how unregulated GLP-1 drugs actively erode patient confidence and complicate global drug safety monitoring. Dr. Frank Dumont, medical director at Virta Health in Colorado, explains this alarming trend perfectly. He attributes it to a rising desperation. People want to access these medications without navigating standard medical channels. He says, and I'm quoting him here, gray market medications are versions of prescription medications that are obtained outside of the usual prescription process. The usual safety precautions have been bypassed in one way or another, and this increases the medical risk of using such a product. We rely on strict regulation for prescription drugs precisely because of the rigorous FDA approval process, covering everything from manufacturing to dispensing. Dr. Dumont cautions, without the usual controls, there are a lot of unknowns, and this translates into more risk for you. While licensed healthcare providers operate under close monitoring, those working outside legal avenues essentially fly beneath the radar, without any supervision for quality and safety. The ease of finding these substances online drastically heightens the risk. It becomes far too simple for you, the consumer, seeking medications like GLP-1, to accidentally stumble upon questionable sources. This isn't just about dodging costs, although that's a massive driver. As Dr. Dumont observes, some are trying to find less expensive versions. That financial pressure, combined with the immense enthusiasm we see for these drugs on social media, fuels this surge in unregulated usage. And misinformation around DIY, or compounded semaglutide, just complicates consumer understanding, making it incredibly challenging for anyone to distinguish genuine medical information from misleading statements. Dr. Dumont remarks, "It has become increasingly easy to make statements and promises without any accountability. And the further an entity is away from the legitimate prescription pathways, the less likely they are to be called out for making questionable or false claims." Thankfully, regulators are responding. Just this past year, in April 2025, both the FDA and Novo Nordisk, the manufacturer behind Ozempic and Wegovy, uncovered counterfeit Ozempic units within the U.S. supply chain. The FDA quickly seized these units for investigation. Dr. Dumont offers us a crucial cautionary note here. If the promises or the price sound too good to be true, they probably are. The FDA has already received hundreds of reports detailing adverse events linked to compounded semaglutide and tirzepatide. We're talking about serious complications here, including overdosing, severe nausea, and dangerous dehydration. In response, federal and state officials are intensifying enforcement efforts, with attorneys general from 38 states urging the FDA to take swift action against these counterfeit distributors. Legal experts have even warned that licensed pharmacies could face penalties if they inadvertently handle adulterated or misbranded products, creating even more complications within the industry. For you, the consumer, if you worry about counterfeit drugs, Dr. Dumont's advice is crystal clear. Stick to legitimate medical channels.